College football and the Big Ten are still quaking from Penn State's loss at UCLA Saturday night. What does this mean for the rest of the season for Penn State, for James Franklin's future? How about Nico Iamaleava's performance? Where's that been all season? We look back at weekend number 6. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and here on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, we're every day. Also, if you can hit that free subscribe button, that helps us out as well. You never miss a single episode, and if you can share, follow, and like, that would be great too. Plus, you can hype our YouTube videos. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So Penn State's future looks done for this year, I got to be honest, and Nico is star. We'll talk about every team, every game in the Big Ten this weekend. And a quick peek ahead to next week and what we're going to do there. But first, the big one Saturday night. Penn State out at the Rose Bowl at UCLA. Penn State having aspirations of a national championship. But the big loss last week against Oregon obviously affected them, going and taking on a UCLA team that's already had a coaching change, that has never had a lead this year. And boom, UCLA wins it 42-37. First time since 1985, a winless team at 0-4 or worse defeated a top 10 team. Penn State clearly had a hangover. You got interim head coach at UCLA, Tim Skipper. How about the tight ends coach, Jerry Neuheisel, son of Rick Neuheisel, former UCLA coach? They said, you know what? You're going to call the plays. I think he's going to call the plays for the rest of the way. That was a lot of fun if you're a UCLA fan. Nico ran for 3 touchdowns. He passed for 2. UCLA had 446 yards of offense versus the mighty Jim Knowles defense at Penn State. That's a coordinator making $3 million a year. UCLA scored on their first 5 possessions. Nico threw for 166. He was their leading rusher at 128. He's a one-man band. I mean, not really, but I mean, it was exciting to see him play like that. It was a real shot of the arm for UCLA. And a big win for Nico, because he received a lot of attention in the offseason from us as well. The way the whole transfer was dealt with and how it was reported and how it was talked about when he went from Tennessee to UCLA. And then they started off with that horrible start to the season. It was bad. So it was a good breakout game for him and the entire program. James Franklin, on the other hand, look, they said their guys did not handle, he said their guys did not handle the loss to Oregon well. They didn't handle the travel well. They didn't handle the whole week very well. It's kind of on him. That's on him. Penn State was a preseason team that was ranked number 2, dropped out of the top 25 altogether. And their 34 straight wins against unranked teams, that streak is over. So last week's loss to Oregon was, you know the old saying, it's bad enough to lose to a team once. Don't let them beat you twice. They let them beat them twice. I think they didn't get over it. They really didn't. And the long West Coast trip didn't help them. I'm not making excuses. UCLA was ready for them. Absolutely. But fans and boosters were already upset and mumbling last week because of the loss to Oregon, because of the reputation that Penn State's got everything it needs. It just can't win the big one. Now they go and lose to an unranked team. Now they're unranked themselves. The noise is only going to get louder. I mean, they still got a couple of ranked teams left on the schedule in Ohio State, who they doesn't seem like they can ever beat them. And of course, Indiana. That's going to be tough. A lot of people are going to be complaining at Penn State. I am really curious to hear from you guys in the comment section, especially Penn State fans. I know you like to shout out the we are and all that. We aren't right now. Let's hear about it. What are you people saying about Penn State? Congratulations again to UCLA with a big shot in the arm for sure. Meanwhile, the number 1 team in the country, Ohio State, they took on Minnesota on that Saturday night game, 23-point favorites. Minnesota actually opened up with a nice opening drive and had a 3-0 lead, and that was it. That was it. The Buckeyes' elite defense, the number 1 scoring defense in the country, had been only giving up 5.5 points per game. Saturday night, they gave up 3. The average just got better. It just got smaller as the Buckeyes improved to 5-0. Ryan Day opened up the playbook for young quarterback Julian Sayin, threw for 326 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 4 completions over 30 yards in this game, and it is his third 300-yard passing game in 5 starts. Cardell Tate was the recipient of most of this. 9 catches, 183 yards, and a touchdown. Jeremiah Smith also hauled in 2 touchdowns. But I want to talk about the defense some more. We did a podcast on the elite defense of Matt Patricia earlier in the week. If you want to go back for a second, listen, if you're a Buckeyes fan, we really dial it down. We think this, even before this game, we thought that this defense is even better than last year's defense that won the national championship. We absolutely believe that. So this is the second game that the defense didn't give up any touchdowns, 5 straight games, holding opponents to under 10 points. They haven't done that since 1979. No first half touchdowns have been given up yet this year. They've not given up a red zone touchdown. Matt Patricia has this defense dialed in. Meanwhile, Minnesota, remember, they lost running back A.J. Turner for the season. Darius Taylor did come back from the hammy, but he was ineffective, 8 carries for 12 yards. And, of course, with Lindsey, they're relying on a freshman quarterback. It was too much to ask. As P.J. Fleck even said, look, man, Ohio State just beat us in all 3 phases of the game. They did. They absolutely did. And then there was another interesting game. We're going to talk about them all here. But Wisconsin at Michigan. And I'm kind of wondering behind the scenes what's going on at Wisconsin. Well, Michigan won the game 24-10. We get to the game. Okay, Billy Edwards, he's not playing because he's still hurt, the starting quarterback. Danny O'Neal has been playing. He wasn't going to start, although he did play a few plays. Hunter Simmons got the call. The transfer from Southern Illinois, making his 4th career start. First for Wisconsin. I've always told you, Luke Fickell's problem, number one problem, he can't get quarterback right. And now he's a game below 500 in his tenure there so far. But Hunter Simmons came in, and I'll tell you what, that first drive of the game, he rammed it right down the mighty Michigan defense's throat, put together a nice 12-play, 75-yard scoring drive. And that was about it for the impressiveness for Wisconsin moving on. I don't know, from that point on, they just quit doing it. But that point on, Michigan woke up, and they don't have a quarterback problem. We're just watching the continuing of the development of Bryce Underwood. You know, Sharon Moore is back off of his suspension. And Underwood, you know, watching the game, if you watch it like I did, you may agree, it didn't seem like it, but Underwood threw for a season or career high 270 yards and a touchdown. It didn't seem like it, right? There was a lot of plays in a row where he was just handing off. I thought there was a time he had hurt his hand. He was flexing it there in the first half. And I think it was when they're down by the goal line. He had a pass deflected right out of his hand. I think that hurt him a little bit. And Michigan's wide receivers just continue to drop the ball. This is a big problem. I know they have some nice recruits coming in, but they're not here till next year. And they're just going to be freshmen. So they rely on the running game. Alabama transfer Justice Haynes, again, 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a nice 43-yard run. He's got a lot of nice chunk yardage runs this year. And another nice note for Michigan fan, Rod Moore, he started playing a couple of weeks ago. Remember, he had played on the national championship team, had some NFL aspirations, and got hurt like in January, February, right after the national championship game. Missed all of last year, missed the spring because he had setbacks with this knee injury, and he's been getting on the field the last couple of games. Well, he had an interception in this game. It was a nice moment for him as he's working his way back into form. So Michigan moves on with another dub, and Luke Fickell in Wisconsin. Now he's 15-16 since he took over, and Wisconsin's not beaten a top 25 team in their last 8 attempts. They're 0-8 of their last 8 against top 25 teams. So would love your comments on all of those games. We're just warming up here. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll never miss a single episode, and we'll be in the Big Ten Club together. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that really helps us. If you're a Big Ten fan, and I'm presuming you are, I know you know other Big Ten people that probably don't know we're out here every day. Hit that little arrow, that share arrow. Share this video. Say, hey, these guys are out here every day. Locked On Big Ten. Check them out. All right, lots to do here. I want to take a look at all the other games from the afternoon from this weekend on Saturday. There is a lot to get to that we'll cover. Illinois takes off. How about Washington? Like dead in the water for the first half or three quarters, really, against Maryland, and come storming back. They were down 20-0. The Huskers grinded out against Michigan State. Northwestern wins. We'll talk about that, and we'll take a peek at this upcoming Week 7. There are some interesting games on the schedule. We're going to tell you about our live broadcast plans for the weekend. So all that's coming up. We got a lot to do as I feel like we're just warming up. Let's do this. It's all coming up here on Locked On Big Ten. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton cross-training Tread X, or Tread Plus, rather. It's powered by Peloton IQ. It's fascinating what this does. It learns you. It learns what you are, what you do. And it's the most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. And it's just training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs, and it's got tools that will help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. The Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching here. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights to use, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. That's the number one. Spell out the number one. ONE, onepeloton.com. Thanks for checking us out here at Locked On Big Ten and making it your first listen each and every day. Again, hit that free subscribe button. Don't forget, we got a website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go as well. Let's continue talking about the exciting weekend this past weekend around the Big Ten. First of all, Washington and Maryland. Here's what we talked about last week when we previewed this game, and also again in our Friday Pigskin Picks. I remember when Washington had to travel all the way to Rutgers last year and lost the game. And I wondered if the same situation might happen. And plus, Maryland's really good. They have been so far this year. And Maryland was good enough to jump out to a 20-0 lead. 20-0. And then Washington scored 24 unanswered points to win on the road. I mean, they were down 17 with 19 minutes to go. Phenomenal. Washington's final 5 drives had 45 plays, 298 yards, and 24 points. Conversely, Maryland, their final 4 drives, 19 plays, 52 yards, 0 points. Maryland had not trailed all season long and late into this game. And then when they trailed, they lost. That was remarkable. It's a great comeback job by Washington, and it's the kind of game that's going to make Maryland kind of scratch its head a little bit and figure out what to do moving forward. Meanwhile, Nebraska handled Michigan State 38-27. You know, it was funny. If you watched us all last week, if you're an everydayer, we told you we were going to time our live Saturday podcast after this game. The schedule was kind of wonky this weekend, and no, we did not expect what happened at Penn State to happen at UCLA with Penn State. Now, we did talk about that game in our picks, and we asked the question, hey, is there going to be a hangover with Oregon? Are they going to be flat early on? Is the West Coast trip all the way across the country going to bother them? And we put it out there as a possibility. We didn't think that UCLA would be able to jump on them and go out the whole game that way and upset them. We thought, okay, maybe it's slow, maybe it's close, but Penn State pulls out the win, right? This is too much at stake. So we had planned to go live after the Nebraska-Michigan State game, but then we were like watching that game and then flipping over with the Penn State-UCLA game, and I went, whoa, there's some history going on here. And so we actually went on live a little bit early. Long story short, that's what we did. But we did pay a lot of attention to this Nebraska-Michigan State game. And we were expecting a bit of a quarterback battle with Dylan Raiola and also Michigan State's Aiden Childs. It was not a great quarterback matchup, if you will. Raiola threw for 194 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And Aiden Childs kind of looked like last year's Aiden Childs. By the way, he got smoked on a pass rush. He was hurt for a while, came out of the game. No fault of his own, but his offensive line, he was just 9 of 23 for 85 yards and 2 interceptions in the game. For Nebraska, Emmett Johnson rushed for 3 touchdowns and 83 yards. Nebraska had 4 sacks of Aiden Childs and 12 tackles for loss. And Deshaun Singleton had 2 interceptions. So we always like to point things like that out. That was a good job. Michigan State, Jordan Hall, he had an interception to Dylan Raiola. Michigan State had 5 sacks and 7 tackles for loss. Then there was the Illinois-Purdue game. Now, we kept telling you, we kept reminding you, because we talked about it on this podcast a lot last year. This game went overtime last year, and it was a 50-49 game. Not the case this year. So, but Purdue did take the lead, 7-0 for the Cannon Trophy in this game. And we told you on Friday, take the over on this one at 55.5. They scored 70, if my math is right. 43-27 is the final score. And Illinois scored 27 points just in the second quarter of this game. Just an explosion. Luke Altmaier had a career high, 390 yards passing. Hank Beatty had 186 yards catching on just 5 catches, including a 62-yard touchdown. And Illinois had 507 yards of offense. And afterward, Brett Bielema says, look, I've been doing this a long time. Altmaier is as good as any quarterback I've ever had. He's probably right. Ryan Brown for Purdue got a 300-yard day, 302 for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown as well, but it wasn't enough. Now, Illinois, weird season, right? Blowout game at Indiana, big lead, blown lead, winning on the last second against USC. Seems like they got it dialed in here this week against Purdue. They have number 1 Ohio State coming to their place next. And then there was Northwestern's game against Louisiana Monroe. All Northwestern, 42-7 in this game over by the Lake Shore. Preston Stone, we should note, has improved tremendously at quarterback since their season opening loss at Tulane. He threw for 3 touchdowns in this game. Caleb Komolafe, the running back, rushed for a couple more touchdowns. And Northwestern, for the second week in a row, scored on its first 3 possessions of a game. So they're you know how teams sometimes are like they just can't start fast, start quickly? Northwestern does not have that problem. They posted 515 yards of offense. Wildcats are now 3-2, and they get to face a mad, angry, but falling and scrambling Penn State football team next. Penn State. They lose that. Goodness gracious. Anyway, that's a recap of all the games that are going on from this past weekend. Now, if you are new to us, we always have features. And on this day, on Monday, every Monday, you can book your calendar by, we always take a look at my top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Tomorrow, our feature is Tuesday Tweets. Hit me up on Twitter or at X, at Talk Big Ten. Put something out there. I'll grab it. I'll put it on the show. Always looking forward to that. Wednesdays, we power rank stuff. In the middle of the season, we'll power rank the teams 1 through 18. Hey, UCLA is going to get out of the basement this year. How far does Penn State fall? We'll have that. You know, they're out of the AP top 25 altogether, right? So we'll have that on Wednesday. Give me another day to think about it. And then on Thursdays, we take a look at the Big Ten Network and their programming, and we pick and highlight from the weekend Big Ten classics that you'd be interested in, and Big Ten live action, whether they have a doubleheader or triple header of college football on Saturdays. And then on Fridays, we go on the record with our pigskin picks. And then when we're right, we remind you of it the next week. We're only the right ones, right? All right. So coming up, we got our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. That's all next as we continue right here on Locked On Big Ten. This episode is brought to you by Square, your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood, your neighborhood, the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of home, whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that has been rooted in your community for years. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. So you can check out all your local businesses. I bet they're running on Square. When we show up as a community, it can mean big business for local business owners. Money spent in the neighborhood stays in the neighborhood. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy that you did. Square. See ya in the neighborhood. You watch games because they're fun and it's exciting and you're a passionate fan. Well, you can have more excitement when you watch the games if you join FanDuel right now. The NFL season is in full swing, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. The app is super easy to navigate. You can find your team's games, all the games, point spreads, game totals, futures, player props, parlay them all together. It's super easy and it's super fun. And it makes games you might not even be interested in otherwise more interesting. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com and download the app today and get started. Again, that's at FanDuel.com. All right, let's do this. It is time to take a look at my top 10 Big Ten observations for the weekend. We'll see if we match your list and your favorite team and your favorite players. If you're on audio only, like on Spotify or Apple, that's cool, by the way. A lot of people do that. We're just going to put a graphic on screen. We'll start at one at a time. We'll start at number 10 and work our way up. So the first thing on the screen we wanted to highlight from this weekend, Purdue. Give them a shout out from the Illinois game, even though they lost. Michael Jackson, the third, 14 catches. 14 catches. It's one of those highlights and stats you probably won't hear a lot about because Purdue doesn't get a lot of attention and they lose a lot of football games. 14 catches, 94 yards versus Illinois. That's definitely worth mentioning as well. All right. Also on our list, shout out to Nebraska's Emmett Johnson. He had not one, not two, but 3 rushing touchdowns versus Michigan State. He is the go-to guy there in the backfield for Matt Rule and Dana Holgorsen and their offense there at Nebraska. And as long as we're talking about the offense of Nebraska, let's talk about the defense of Nebraska in that Michigan State game. Deshaun Singleton had not one, but 2 interceptions. Chances are, if you get multiple interceptions, if you watch us, if you're an everydayer, you know I like to highlight defensive stats, sacks, interceptions. You do multiples, chances are I'm going to point you out here on this segment with our top 10 Big Ten observations each and every week. Also, Illinois, Hank Beatty, he has made this list a lot of times. He is phenomenal, and he is having a great year in Illinois' win over Purdue. Now, he had 186 yards receiving. Guess how many catches? Did you hear it earlier? 5. 5 catches, 186 yards, including a 62-yarder in that game against Purdue. That is spectacular. Also on our top 10 Big Ten observations from the week. Shout out to Michigan's Rod Moore, their safety. Like we said, he's been working his way back from injury for 18, 19 months. Just got onto the field for the first time a couple of games ago. I think it was the Nebraska game was the first one he got on. And he had an interception against Wisconsin. So, man, that was a long road for him. He had NFL aspirations. I know he wants to get healthy and show off his stuff, and he looked good against Wisconsin. Meanwhile, I want to give a shout out on our top 10 Big Ten observations, just Washington in general, for that phenomenal comeback against Maryland. Unreal. Absolutely. Down 20-0 and win the game 24-20. I don't know if I'm more impressed by the fact that they scored 24 unanswered points or the fact that once they gave up 20 to Maryland, they didn't give up another point. Found that remarkable. So it's a good road win for the Washington Huskies. Elsewhere on our list, our top 10 Big Ten observations. So Ohio State, Carnell Tate, 9 catches, 183 yards, and a touchdown. Think about the day that Carnell Tate had 9 catches, 183 yards, and a touchdown, and Hank Beatty at Illinois, 186 yards on 5 catches and a touchdown. Those are remarkable days by those guys. Elsewhere on the list, Ohio State's defense by itself making the list against Minnesota in front of a nationally televised audience. You're only averaging 5.5 points given up on defense, and you give up 3. I can't do quick math right now, but I know that's lower now. Less than 5.5. Still going to be number 1 in the country in that category. And our top 2 have to do with UCLA. Jerry Neuheisel, Rick Neuheisel's son, former head coach there. He's, I believe he's a tight ends coach at UCLA. And they just made the change. Here, you be the play caller. They didn't call him the offensive coordinator. You said you're the play caller against Penn State. I have a feeling he is going to officially be the offensive coordinator. And if he continues having games like that, and with the last name Neuheisel, seems like that guy's destined to be a head coach someday, right? Very young and looks like a very talented coach. And then number one, Nico Iamaleava, his performance with 5 total touchdowns in that game, never wavered, even when Penn State chopped into that big deficit and made it a game, and it got to be nail-biting time. Nico stood up and delivered. So congratulations to him. He tops off our top 10 Big Ten observations that we do each and every Monday. How about you? Did I leave anybody off? Anything remarkable that I left off the list? Let me know. Would love to hear from you on all of that. All right. Now, in the meantime, there's many ways for you to interact with me if you want to give me a shout out for anything on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. Also, our website, talkbig10.com. That's with the number 10. All of our podcasts and school merchandise go there. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a single episode, because we're here every day with multiple podcasts. And we do go live on Saturday. So here's what we're going to do this weekend. We're going to go live twice. We did this a couple weeks ago. We had a lot of success with this, and it was fun. Kind of a doubleheader, day-night doubleheader. So we're going to go live, and you can have your immediate comments to me. I see them. You get my immediate reaction, unfiltered, immediate post-game reaction. Obviously, we're going to start, with the Indiana at Oregon game. That's a 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on the West Coast on CBS. As soon as that game is over with the winning coach interview on the field, we're going to go live after that. All right. Then we're going to take a break. Then we're going to watch the Michigan USC game. That's the 7:30 game on NBC. We're going to go on live after that one, probably around 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. So a doubleheader, 2 live podcasts on Saturday, but all of our regular podcasts in between for the rest of the week as well. Going to be very, very, very busy this time of year. Also, programming note, another development for Locked On. For you college football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present the College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation along 2-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. And it's a college football preview that only Locked On could do. You can catch the College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. That'll do it for us. We're very excited about this week. This is a big week. You know, we'll be previewing all these games with Indiana and Oregon and Michigan and USC and everything else in between. We got you covered right here every single day. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll see you tomorrow.